This is episode 145 of the Beyond the Food Show, and today we're going to break down the concept of food freedom, and I'll teach you how to get there in a 4-step process. This is a full-on teaching episode. So if you're tired of being a victim of your eating behavior and you're ready to change from victim to leader, this is for you. Stay tuned. My name is Stephanie Dodier, clinical nutritionist. I reversed my diagnosis of anxiety, depression, adrenal fatigue, and obesity by going beyond the food. I can tell you one thing, that willpower, discipline, and deprivation aren't the permanent solution to transforming your relationship to food. So how do you leave overeating, emotional eating, food craving, and binging behind you so you have the food freedom to achieve all of your goals and be happy now? As a top 25 alternative health podcast in the world, this is the Beyond the Food Show. I have created an audio training entitled How to Change Any Eating Habit, specifically the one that is sabotaging you. 3 strategies to create the consistency and confidence you need to change your eating habit without willpower or discipline. I did this in order to help women like yourself engage with food in a completely different perspective so that they stop craving, overeating, binging, and using food to feel better. You can put an end to the cycle of frustration, the all or nothing mindset, and shame towards your own body and become a motivated, consistent, focused, and self-loving version of yourself. This free audio training is about the why we eat, how we eat, so that the what we eat can be easy, effortless, and pleasurable. So if you are ready to step into the new version of yourself so that you can change how you interact with food, head over to stephaniedodier.com/training right now. Hey ladies, Stephanie Dodier here, and today's episode is another special one. This is for the ladies that are ready to take action. If you are comfortable on the sideline in just observing, listening, and just taking it in, this is probably going to trigger you because this is full of ways into which you can take action to move into going beyond the food. So if you're not quite ready for this, my advice to you is that you skip this episode. But if you are ready to take action, this is for you. This is in the vein of me innovating with the podcast. I did mention that to you 2 shows ago. So 143 and then in 144, which is the last episode, which by the way, today is July 26, 2018. 144 is rocking. On this one, it was a really deeply inspirational show where I had 8 of my friends, 8 guest speakers that shared with you their most vulnerable mindset shift they had to do to change their relationship to food. So if you haven't listened yet, that's another life-changing podcast. And I'm not joking. I have received the most feedback after only 24 hours of this episode being out into the world that I've ever received in 144 show. Extremely inspirational to see leaders in this community of nutrition and health, people that you follow, talking about their real struggle. And for most of them, it is something that they don't necessarily talk about on their own platform because their platform is about something else than mindset. So they don't really talk about this stuff. So that's why I think this episode was so powerful, is because you've seen a side of the Sean Miner, the Leon Vogel, or the Kendra Hawley that you've never seen before. And I think that's what made it so inspirational. So anyway, enough talking about this. Go check out episode 144. Today is innovation number 2. It's an audio training. Now, I put out my first audio training a month ago. So if you haven't put your hands on it yet, it's time to go and do it. It's how to change any eating habits, even the one that sabotage you. This is a 1-hour audio training, and in there, I share 3 strategies that boost your confidence and consistency so you can make the change that you are looking for. You can grab it inside the show note here, stephaniedodier.com/145, or you can go to stephaniedodier.com/training. One of the 2 places, you'll get there, first name and email address, and I'll send you the audio training. Now, today is another version of training because really, I'm a teacher at heart. If you've ever worked with me, that's what I do. I teach you conceptual element so that you can make changes in your life. And I also provide you with experiential training in which you have to go out and practice. That's what a teacher does. So this is the same thing today. But today we're going to talk about food freedom because this is something that most of us at this point in our journey, when we're past the whole dieting in our early life, whatever age that is for you, and we're sick and tired of dieting, we come to this point where we're like, am I going to live like this for the rest of my life? And the answer is, I don't want to. So what do I do? If I don't diet, what am I going to do? That's what I call food freedom. So that's a live workshop that I'm also doing on video. So if you're listening to this live on July 27, 2018, you'll have a chance on Saturday the 28th to catch me live on video doing this training with a live Q&A at the end. And again, you can find the link to register for that in the show note, stephaniedodier.com/145. But as soon as August the 1st, we will have this training available on video also on the website. So you'll be able to grab that training live on video on the website at stephaniedodier.com/thefoodfreedommap. But in the meantime, we're going to do this together here on an audio version. So let's get started. Who is this training for? If you're like me, you are someone who knows that there is more to life than consistently obsessing about food, worrying about calories and macro, and even eating time window. You are someone who wants to lead their best life, but right now you feel like a victim of your eating habit. You want to change, but nothing is working. The first thing I want you to know that if you've been challenged or attempting to change your eating habit and it didn't work, it is not your fault. There's a lot of misinformation out there and it can be extremely confusing. Many times, it's actually information overload. And that is very common in certain food philosophies such as paleo and ketogenic. You're like overwhelmed with science, but you can't do the basic in your life. So if that's you, this is the training for you. I know you're just like me. You want to know how to eat normally. Here's the good news. You know how to do it already. You were born with the ability to eat intuitively and normally. This is a quote unquote God-given gift. The problem is years of dieting have tuned that out. I call it your internal nutritionist has been shut down. We need to revive it. And that's what we're going to do in this training here. So we're going to cover a lot of juicy information today. So if it is a first time for you attending any of my workshop or listening to my podcasts, I would highly, highly recommend that you hit pause right now. You go get yourself a piece of paper and a pen because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to write down life life-changing information. And I'm not kidding. The concept that we speak about in this podcast are life-changing. So, are you ready to give me about 40 minutes of your time to learn the 4-step to food freedom? If you are, we're going to get started right away. So, we're going to learn a lot today. And the first thing where we're going to start is with the foundation to this new journey that we're going to call food freedom. What you should focus on first so you are set up for success in creating your food freedom. We're going to start the work right here, right now in this workshop. And then we're going to talk about why the things you are doing right now aren't quite working for you. There is something that weight loss and diet experts are teaching that aren't really accurate because it's considering you and your body as simply science machine. They don't know what it feels like to struggle with emotional eating or body image issue. Most of those weight loss and fitness industry experts are, quote unquote, normal eater or normal weight people, and they don't know what it feels to be in our body. So they don't know what it takes for someone like you and me. We're going to finally stop wasting time and money on tricks and pills and special program that doesn't work. You know what I'm talking about, right? The miracle supplement, the detoxes, the how to increase your willpower, all those things that aren't working. So that's what we're going to do. Stop wasting money and time together. Then we're going to build a relationship with our body so that we can finally learn to trust ourselves. Guess what? You can do this. You can trust yourself. Each one of us is born with our own internal nutritionists that know exactly what you should eat and should not eat. We don't want to continue to do what doesn't work, counting calories, counting macro. Because the reality is we're good at it for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then we all know what happened. We get overwhelmed, we throw out the apps, and then we start overeating again on the forbidden food. And most of the time, twice as much as we should because we feel so deprived. Think about it. How long has calorie been invented? Maybe at best 150 years. What did we do before that? How did our species evolve? With what? With our internal nutritionists. The problem is that the years of dieting has shut down that internal nutritionist. Tonight, we are going to revive it with the strategy that I'm going to teach you. What we're going to cover tonight is called the Food Freedom Map. This is the very map that I use when I work in clinic with my patient or my clients online, and I've used in my own journey that ended my self-sabotaging behavior with food like overeating, emotional eating, and binging, and that moved me into this place of eating intuitively and ending the cycle of yo-yo dieting. So if you've tried on your own and it hasn't worked, trust me, I know what it feels like. I can almost guarantee you that you've never tried anything like this before. If you are someone who's tried before on your own intuitive eating ways, but it didn't work, I know how it feels. And it's likely because you haven't applied what I'm about to teach you tonight. The Food Freedom Map is it. So let's dive in right now. So I know most of you are like excited. Stephanie, I want to know the details right away. Show me the step by step on how to ditch the diet and the yo-yo dieting cycle. Make me a normal eater right now. But here's the thing. We need to actually step backward so we can move forward. Any good coach knows that. It's not just about piling a bunch of information that is just going to make you more overwhelmed. A good coach will walk you back and unpack what you did wrong, look at the root cause so you can find your individual solution that you, your body, and your life can work with. So that's what we're going to do first. And we're going to explore the cycle of yo-yo dieting. So if you go to the show note at stephaniedode.com/145, I have put in there this very important graphic, dieting cycle. So I'm going to explain it verbally here, but know that you can refer to it in the show note. And I would highly recommend you go get it. So imagine a big circle. At the top of it, you have your desire to lose weight. And then that leads you to dieting. You restrict food or you do more exercise. You don't restrict exercise, you do more exercise. And then it works. You feel rewarded because you are losing weight. And you are proud because you are actually able to restrict your food. So at that point, everything goes well. And then time passes, and this is different for each one of us. Could be days, weeks, or months. And then the willpower stops working. And then gradually you're more and more tempted. You have more and more craving. You start to feel really negative. And then all of a sudden, the whole habits come back. The old eating habits, you don't desire to exercise as much. And then gradually over time, you're morphing into the person you were before. And then you start feeling like a failure. You start feeling shameful, terrible. And that leads to what we all know called emotional eating. And then you eat in response to those feelings of failure and shame. And for some of us, you even binge. And for most of us, we overeat on the forbidden food that were part of our diet before. And then you feel even more shameful because you emotionally eat and because you binge and because you overeat. And then the weight starts to come back. And then you feel almost depressive. And then you stay there until the desire to lose weight comes back upon you. And then the cycle repeats itself. I was caught in that cycle for 25 years. It started at the age of 14 and it ended at the age of 38. I came up with this cycle because of my own journey and because of my 8 years of working with patients in clinic and clients online, and I observed the exact same pattern. So for all of you listening right now, who feels me? Who is part of this? So if you're alone in your living room and your car right now, raise your hand. If it's you, acknowledge this. Now, remember I said a good coach will teach you to look back and ask yourself, why is this happening? I want you to look at it from a functional approach. So what is a functional approach? A functional approach looks at the problem from a root cause perspective. What is causing the problem to happen? In medicine, that's called functional medicine. In coaching, that's called functional coaching. Compared to conventional coaching or conventional medicine that looks at symptom management. So problem pops up, address the problem, and push the person forward. Think of it also as your car. Okay, so that's a good analogy, your car. When there's a light that comes up on the dashboard in your car, what do? Do you simply take out the little light bulb so the light doesn't come up anymore and you're happy and you go and carry on with your car? Or do you say, hola, the engine light just come up. Let me go to the mechanic so he can assess the situation and tell me what I need to do. Well, most of us will take option number 2, right? But unfortunately, when we look at ourselves and our problem, we don't do that. We take out the light bulb, right? We manage symptoms. And guess what? Your food behavior, which caused your weight gain, is just that. It's a symptom. The problem is that diet addressed the food behavior with control, restriction, and avoidance, but none of the other contributing factor to your food behavior are addressed in the dieting framework. So what else affects your food behavior? Your thoughts and the quality of it, your mindset, and your perspective, and your life journey. That has the most impact on your food behavior. So let me repeat. Your thoughts, your mindset, your perspective, and your story, your life experience, is what creates the food behavior of binging, overeating, emotional eating, all these behavior that drives you to gain weight is not addressed by the dieting culture. So this is a huge haha moment. Write this down. Addressing the food behavior is like addressing the problem at the top of the chain. It's like taking the light bulbs out of your dashboard in your car. The problem is still there. There is still noises. There is still engine clocking. Willpower is like a pill. It's a symptom management. It's only going to work for a short period because your thoughts, your mindset, your perspective, your life story is a heck of a lot more powerful than willpower. So the first thing I want you to do, ladies, the very first step of the food freedom map is just that, is why you eat. Do you know why you bring food to your mouth? Now, seriously, this is not a joke. Do you eat out of physical hunger or emotional hunger? For most women desiring food freedom, it's likely that a vast majority of the time you are bringing food to your mouth because of emotional eating. The World Health Organization has a statistic that states that 43% of people eat to regulate their emotion. Here's the thing. The problem is that knowing what to eat is not really our problem. But that's what diet teaches us, what to eat. But no one addresses why we eat. So if you are an emotional eater and you're desiring food beyond real physical hunger, then you need to get connected to your emotion and change the habits to reach for food to regulate your emotion. Here's the first piece of work I want you to do to change this habit of emotional eating. Number 1, bring awareness to the fact that you are reaching for food to regulate your emotion and accept it for what it is. Stop being in denial. You can't change what you don't know. And the first thing you need to do is to accept it that you are an emotional eater. And here's the thing, you aren't alone. You aren't broken. I'm right here with you, sister. Knowing that about me allowed me to be more aware of my emotion and to be aware that I was reaching for food to feel better, not because I was hungry. By being aware and accepting, you can make a different choice in the moment. It will be easier than fighting it. By feeling the emotion and accepting that you're having this emotion, you'll be able to release that emotion quicker and avoid using food to regulate. And please do one more thing. Very important. Write this down. Recognize yourself for making different choices. So as you start practicing this step number 1, recognize and positively reinforce yourself. Beating yourself up won't lead you anywhere. We have a whole podcast about that. I think it's podcast 141, an interview with Christina Kerb. It won't get you anywhere. But positively reinforcing yourself will allow you to reprogram your mind to do more of that behavior. I mean, all the mothers know that, right? You do that with your children. It's time that we do that for us as adults. Now, don't worry. This is all going to come together very easily. We're only at step 1 for now, which is why you eat. Step 2. Next, you have to stop the behavior of emotional eating. I know, it's evident, right? Stephanie, I've been trying this for years. I know, been there with the problem myself. And unfortunately, what I was being taught about emotional eating was all wrong. The current model from the diet and the weight loss industry is to use willpower, discipline, and mental strain to kill our craving and to overcome emotional eating. This is why you have been knee deep in the cycle of yo-yo dieting for years, because the tool you've been taught, willpower, doesn't work. Suppression, avoidance of feeling of the emotion doesn't work either. Why? Because emotions are a natural process that must be expressed for it not to reoccur. Using willpower to avoid not feel your emotion only makes it suppress inside of you. And imagine it's becoming over time like this big ball of fire inside of your belly. And at some point, this thing is going to explode. And boom, you are overeating and binging. That's where it comes from. So, what can you do instead of willpower? Listen carefully. Write this down. Feel, don't fight. Feel the emotion. Use your breath to ride the wave of your emotion. Now, neuroscience, which is the study of the brain and the nervous system, has demonstrated that emotions are short-lived. Mood are long-term emotion. Mood are happening when we do not express our emotion. We collect all those emotions and then they become a mood. And we're constantly in that mood because we're actually suppressing our emotion. The end result? When you ride the wave of your emotion and you feel them, you won't reach for food because you'll be using your breath instead of food to ease in to releasing the emotion. What is the next step? Step number 3 in reaching for your food freedom. Step number 3 is stop eating when full. Right. Sound easy, Stephanie. Like you don't think that I know that? I can just hear you, right? I know it's easy for me to say that, but that's the truth. We need to stop eating when we are full. But why are we not doing that? Why are we not stopping when we full? Why are we continuing to eat? And all of a sudden we wake up and we're bloated and we've overate. Why? Because we aren't present with our food when we eat. We are somewhere else. Maybe you're swiping through content on your smartphone, on your Facebook feed, you're listening to TV, you're reading the paper, you're thinking about a problem in your life. You're everywhere but with the food. The process of being present with your food, I call it conscious eating. Now, what happens when you are present with your food? Guess what? You can feel your signal of satiety that all of us have. And I'm telling you, some of you are like saying to me right now, no, I don't have those. Yes, you do. But you are not in the mindset, in a presence for you to accept or even hear those signals. When you can hear those signals, you can stop eating. And you can actually, by being present with your food, by eating consciously, you can actually enjoy and have more pleasure in your food. And that will result in you feeling more satisfied. So what can you do? What is the tool you can use to stop eating when full? Use your 5 senses to remind you to be present with food. Look at your food. Look at the color. Smell the aroma of your food. Think about the spices that gives that flavor to the food. Chew your food so you can taste it, so the signal can actually get to your brain that this is really good food and that you have enough. Ready for this? I called it make love to your food, ladies. Now, what is the last piece of the food freedom map? Step number 4. Overcoming binging and overeating. And that was, for me, my biggest ha-ha moment. When I realized this, that this was possible, I went to science and research to validate what I had found through my own journey. And guess what? It was in science too. Why in the heck has nobody ever told me before how to stop overeating and binging? You want to know what it is? What you need to do to stop overeating and binging? Here it is. I want you to pay real close attention here. Restricting food causes our brain, more specifically your reptilian brain, that primal part of your brain, to activate our survival mechanism. When we set up a rule of, I can't have this, your brain freaks out and go in full-on survival mode. It's like feast or famine in your brain. Your survival mechanism are very highly sophisticated piece of engineering that allowed us, human, to evolve as the predominant species on this planet. So when you set up that rule, I can't have this, I can't eat that much, you are restricting food and activating your survival mechanism. But I can hear you right now, right? Some of you are, again, probably freaking out of saying, yes, Stephanie, but how am I going to achieve my goal if I don't restrict? Here's the good news. Just like the quote unquote normal eater around you, the people who have a stable weight that don't need to restrict or have never done a diet in their life, what do? They eat when they're hungry. They stop when they're full. They are relying on their internal nutritionists, aka their intuition, and you can too. Yes, you can have it too. The current situation that you are in, because of the years of dieting, you have made your internal nutritionist very quiet. Your internal nutritionist has lost her voice and she's not speaking to you right now. So what we need to do is to talk to her, stop restricting her, stop shutting her down, and give her the permission to talk to you. And the only way we can do this is by removing rules and restriction so that she, this internal nutritionist, your intuition, can do her job. We need to revive her. Now, for it to all come together, those 4 steps, I have a secret weapon. Call it the golden arrow, the thing that makes it all happen. And that secret weapon, that golden arrow, is your mindset. Your mindset is the intention by which you create your thoughts and your emotion, which now drives the behavior of food. So I'm going to walk you through this because this is a cornerstone pieces of making food freedom happen. This is where it all happens. I am telling you, mindset is the most important element so that step 1, 2, 3, and 4 can happen. So what is the mindset that you're having right now? So that's a question for you to answer. Do you have a negative mindset that comes from a place of lack, or maybe even a place of not enough? Often women will express that in, I need to fix myself. That's the mindset of lack. Or do you experience the positive mindset, the one that comes from a place of abundance, of possibility, a belief that you are enough, one that says, what is possible for me? How can I become an even better version of myself? I know you're smart. You know the answer to this. You know that negative belief will drive negative thoughts and negative food behavior. Right? One of those negative food behavior in our context is overeating, binging, restricting, emotional eating, all the stuff you're trying to avoid here. So why does this happen? Because your brain is trying to protect you from the danger of your consistently negative thoughts. Your not being enough, your I'm broken, I need to fix myself is dangerous. Your brain thinks that you're really broken and you're not enough, and it's stirring up all those negative emotion that leads to the negative food behavior. Here's the secret. You gotta change your glasses. Imagine your mindset like a pair of glasses that you wear every morning. And here's the thing. Changing your mindset is as simple as changing your glasses. It can be done. So here's how we're going to bring it all together for you. I'm going to use me as an example of how you can ditch the diet and have food freedom in your life. I'm going to show you how this happened in real, normal life. With food freedom, you get to eat normally. You get to feel in control of what you eat and how much you eat without feeling restrained by rules. Food freedom means that you are a normal eater and you no longer obsess about food every minute of the day. You stop feeling like a failure and you stop feeling shameful. It means that you can move on and focus on the things that are way more important than food. So how does this look like? Number one, why you eat. When I decided that I had enough of suffering through a cycle of serial dieting, I turned in towards myself and asked myself the question, why do I eat? Is it out of physical hunger or emotional hunger? And very quickly, I realized that it was mostly emotional hunger, boredom at night, loneliness in front of the TV, stress eating at work, especially when working on deadline, eating chocolate when my partner and I were getting into a fight. You get me? Does that sound familiar to you? I actually was rarely feeling true hunger because I snacked all day long. It became very clear quickly that my emotions were ruling my eating. That explained why controlling what I ate by our diet had never worked permanently. I then trained myself to use my breath to regulate and ride the wave of my emotion. And that was seriously life-changing. After seeing this victory, the rest came easy. I cut off the distraction when I ate. I made it a rule to not have my phone by me and actually engage with my food for the 5 or the 10 minutes that my meal lasted. That's how I coined the term making love to my food. And then the last step boosted my self-confidence because I had been fighting my whole life and it was easy now. I now trusted myself and my body so I could follow my intuition, aka my internal nutritionist, to make food decision. And that was a smooth transition. And guess what? I didn't crave McDonald's. I didn't crave junk food. I crave healthy food. Because my internal nutritionist wanted me to be healthy, so I craved the food that made me thrive. These simple basic is what is not being taught right now to all of us women. Most women do not know these steps and they stay stuck in a dieting cycle and makes the same huge mistake that drives them to fail, which is to use your willpower and your discipline. So we're going to recap this point because this is huge, right? So take notes. If there's ever a time you want to take notes is right now. So pause if you have to and then come back at it. This is huge. So the first thing you've got to do is to determine why you eat, then ride the wave of your emotion to stop the emotional eating. Use your breath instead of food, and then change how you eat to be more present with your food. And then you'll be able to follow your intuition when it comes to your food choices. Now, it's very easy for me to say this, but how do you feel about it? Are you as mind blown as most of my students are when I teach them that? You're probably saying, I've never looked at it this way. At this time, I thought I was the problem, Stephanie. Stephanie, this is a game changer. If that's what you're thinking, I am glad for you. But understand that there is more. You have to learn the how so you can apply it in your life. How does emotional hunger differ from physical hunger? What exactly do I need to do to be comfortable with my emotions so I don't reach for food? How can you revive your internal nutritionist after 10 or 20 years of dieting? Is that the way you are interacting with food right now? If you don't interact with food with love and acceptance, you probably don't have the right mindset. Likely you had the mindset of not being enough. Maybe you're struggling with poor body image or even shame. And let me say that to you, you are not alone. 91% of women don't like their body and resort to dieting to change it. 91% of women don't like their body and they resort to dieting to change it. Is that you? That was me. Here's what I want you to realize. Listen here. You cannot hate yourself to success. You cannot hate your body and expect it to work for you. Think of the stress you are creating inside of yourself every time you shame yourself via your thought or your internal self-talk. How much of your emotional eating is self-imposed via your own self-judgment because of your body shaming? Think about this. In the same way that I taught you that you must love and accept your emotional eating for what it is so you can heal it and change it, the same goes with your body. You must accept it and stop shaming it. When you have that, you are on your way to food freedom. Understand one thing. It's about removing the trigger that drive emotional eating. And one of that major contributing trigger is body image. I know that you ladies know that in the back of your head, and that's why you're here. Yes, you want to feel free around food. That's nice, but really what's important here is what you will be able to do and achieve and experience when you feel comfortable in your body, which will no longer cause you to obsess about food. What are you not doing today because of the diet, your food choices, or your body? Know this, it's all available to you right now. But first, you must change your mindset. That is the starting point to the food freedom map. Life is so much more than food and weight loss. Who agrees with me here today? I want to tell you about an opportunity. I'm also the creator of Claim Your Food Freedom Program. The Claim Your Food Freedom Program is filled with things like the Food Freedom Map. In Claim Your Food Freedom Program, we talk about why we eat, how we eat, so that the what we eat is easy, natural, and pleasurable. If you are someone who has been wanting to get off the yo-yo dieting cycle, you can get the opportunity to achieve that with the Claim Your Food Freedom program and to learn how to do it right the first time. You can skip all the frustration and the pain and do it right the first time. If you are someone who's been running in circles, trying everything and nothing is working, and you've been chasing that miracle solution, the Claim Your Food Freedom fills the gap of what is currently missing in your approach. In Claim Your Food Freedom program, you'll learn step by step how to first set the foundation. Understand why you eat and why what the diet expert have been teaching you aren't working for you. We give you the tool and the strategy to be able to understand your hunger, and it works. We take the food freedom map concept and we build on that. We layer the solution, the processes that needs to be implemented to make it work for you. Then we work at changing our mindset to avoid the sabotaging thoughts. We change our glasses. We address it in two particular ways: body image and perfectionism. Because wanting to be perfect is also a huge trigger. Who's with me on this, ladies? Then we move on to stop emotional eating, and we're using our breath to ride the wave of our emotion. It's called the Crave Cure formula, and that's magical. For all of my students who are using it, they can tell you how well it has done to be dealing with their food urges. And then we work in Claim Your Food Freedom program to overcome the most powerful urges to overeat or binging by tapping into our internal nutritionist. You know, that expert you have inside of you that will guide you towards the best choices. I've done this program with a bunch of beta tester because I would never put a program out there that hasn't been tested. We actually did it with 2 groups. And I'm going to link in the show note to the testimonial of women who have actually done the program. But I wanted to share with you one testimonial out of, I think we have over 15 testimonial from the last beta testing group that you can go and check out on our website, stephaniedose.com/claim your food freedom. But right now we're going to insert 2 of our testimonial from Rebecca and Susan.
It's a lot of an internal journey for me now, working with my brain as opposed to my food.
Yes, sister. That's what we call going beyond the food.
Yes. And the Claim Your Food Freedom, I've learned so much and I've let go of a lot of things. I actually had a really interesting experience in a restaurant in London. on Saturday night where I had a piece of chocolate cake.
Okay.
It was literally the best chocolate cake I've ever had.
Okay. But
instead of shoveling it in like crazy, it took me half an hour to eat this piece of cake.
You made love to your cake.
I did. That's it. That's exactly what happened. And it blew my mind. Because normally I would just sit there and shovel in the cake and go, oh, that was good. What's next?
Uh-huh.
In this case, there was nothing else I wanted. I'm like, I'm good.
Fully satisfied.
Very satisfied and no guilt about eating it either.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's huge for me. It's been years since I've been able to eat food like that with no guilt behind it.
I just want to say that I really am starting to see myself as perfect, just the way that I am. And just that realization has helped me tremendously.
In which aspect of your life?
In all aspects of my life. At work, I'm feeling more confident. And I used to compare myself to other women a lot, and I find myself doing that less and less.
And how is that impacting your eating behavior?
My eating behavior, well, now I will stop and ask myself what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that and what do I need right now. And many times I do go ahead and eat whatever it is, but there are times when I don't, and I feel like those are achievements.
In a short amount of time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
21 day.
Yes.
Imagine what can happen in 3 more months of practice.
Yes.
Anything else you would like to share with me?
I just really appreciate you and the work that you do.
Thank you very much, Susan. I really appreciate that. I'm so excited to have been able to witness those students thrive. So Claim Your Food Freedom program is now open for you to join today. In Claim Your Food Freedom program, you're going to spend 21 days learning directly from me. I'm going to take you through 4 modules, which are our 4 steps of the Food Freedom Map. And each module is divided into 3 short lessons. Those lessons are video. They're also available in audio, so you can watch them at your convenience. And I'm the one teaching you. So when you get into the program, you will first receive module 1 with its 3 lessons, its video, and also the assignment booklet. So you will watch the 3 short video, then you have 5 days to implement and practice what you've learned in module 1. Then on day 6, you will have access to module 2 and the 3 short lesson. And this is going to carry on for 21 days. You're going to receive the 4 module and have 5 days for implementation of each module. But I get it. Some of you, life is busy, and you may have the baseball game with the kids or the kids stuff to do. So you're going to receive lifetime access to this program, which means that at any time you'll be able to come back, access the video, the audio, and the PDF anytime you would like within the next year or the next 10 years. It'll be there waiting for you. The program is available right now for $97, which is a small fraction of my going rate if you were to work with me individually. So it's a very simple, easy, and guided training program so that you can change your relationship to food and move from restriction to food freedom. Now, it gets even better. If you enroll now, you'll also receive 4 roadblock bonuses, which means these bonuses are what most of my students struggled with when doing my program. So what I decided to do is actually do a mini course on each one of those roadblocks. And the most important one is body image. We've already talked about that, right? Body image formula is a mini course inside of Claim Your Food Freedom that will help you change your perspective on your current state of body acceptance. Another bonus will be the all or nothing mindset or perfection and the tools to overcome that. The next one, the third bonus, is how to overcome fear of failure, which is really fear of success. And the last one is the time management formula. This is a very cool tool that's going to help you reframe how you approach time management in your own life to make sure it's aligned with your goals. Now, this program also comes with a guaranteed. So you have a 7-day money back guaranteed, which means you've received module 1 and module 2. And if you don't think this is the right solution for you and hasn't helped you, just send us an email. And with anything else that I put out into the world, you're not satisfied, we'll offer you your money back. Now, because this is the first time we're launching this program to the public after being tested by over 35 women, which all of them have seen success, we're doing a special live edition. So when you go and purchase Claim Your Food Freedom program, you will be offered to add on a bonus. And that bonus is going to be 2 coaching call with me. So one group coaching call will be halfway through the 21-day program, and the other one will be towards the end of the program. And in those coaching calls will be either video or by telephone, whatever is good for you. You'll be able to ask me questions directly to me, and I will provide you with an answer. And with anyone who's been through my coaching call, I don't just give you the answer. I also coach you on how to improve yourself. So you'll have those 2 calls with me. The calls will be recorded and sent back to you as well. Plus, I'll include a kind of a sneak peek inside the Going to Beyond the Food Academy with our intuitive eating guide. So this is a guide that our students inside the Going Beyond the Food Academy receive on how to implement intuitive eating techniques in their life. So it's a very detailed guide. So if you take on the additional bonus that is only being offered in July 2018, so you have to be listening live because this offer will only be available until Sunday, July the 29th. So if you're not listening to this live, this bonus unfortunately will not be available for you to purchase as an add-on to Claim Your Food Freedom program. So that was the Food Freedom Map. I truly hope that those 4 steps and my secret weapon, my golden arrow, will be something that you will be able to implement in your life by yourself. And if you think you need help, then I absolutely would love to have you inside my Claim Your Food Freedom program so I can teach you directly. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. We have a great show coming up. The next one, show 146, is going to get real personal. And it's a question from a listener that I've been battling with for probably 6 weeks now on how I'm going to approach this in the case of the podcast. It's about my personal weight struggle and how I approach it. And like with anything that I approach in my life, this is going to get controversial. I am telling you right now. So here's a snippet of this. My own weight gain has been the best thing that could ever happen to me. Ta-da! I know some of you are freaking out right now, right? How can she say that? How can she think that? Well, you're going to have to come back and listen to episode 146 to see why and how I got there. So, ladies, I love you, and I look forward to hang out with you again here on the podcast or inside of your Claim Your Food Freedom program. eat for other reason than hunger. Maybe eating because you are stressed, frustrated, bored, or because you think you deserve it. I struggled with craving, overeating, and even binging on healthy food, no matter what diet I was on. Keto, paleo, organic, whole food, nothing stopped it. And maybe you feel the same. Tired of dieting, over-exercising, and yet another fad program. Or maybe you're overeating and binging and wish you could just be a normal eater. I thought I was alone. I was sick and tired of being a victim of my food urges. Who wouldn't be? Do you feel stuck with your eating and body right now? I want you to know one thing. You are not alone. You aren't broken. If food hasn't been going the way you've planned, know this. It is not your fault. Sadly, most women keep repeating the cycle of yo-yo dieting because they rely on old strategy like restriction, discipline, and the worst one of all, willpower. Perhaps you believe in eating more intuitively and would love to trust yourself around food, but are afraid of trying because, honestly, you just don't trust yourself. Or worse, you've tried before and you fail. So that's why I want to peel back the curtain and show you exactly how I changed my relationship to food and the one of my client, going from overeating, binging, and emotional eating to food freedom. And quite frankly, it is completely different from anything you've heard before. Claim Your Food Freedom is a 21-day journey to dissolve the hidden blocks, the emotional blocks that keep you stuck, and finally, stop sabotaging yourself with food. Claim Your Food Freedom is a 4-step mapping process that will take you from where you are now to food freedom. You see, everything will change the moment you are willing to see beyond the food and understand why you eat. It's about transforming why and how you eat so what you eat becomes easy, natural, and peaceful. Health, well-being, self-confidence, satisfaction, and success are all byproduct of you looking beyond the food to unlock your food freedom. Plus, I'll coach you on specific roadblocks that may get in the way from you being free from food. Probably the things that made you fail before. The constant hate on your body, the all or nothing attitude, aka perfectionism, fear of failure, or even shame. And lastly, time management. If you are ready to step into a new version of yourself that eats normally and is at peace with food and maybe even your body, head over to www.claimyourfoodfreedom.com and I'll see you on the other side.